Breaking tonight, new reaction from across the media and the 2016 presidential field, with Republican Dr. Ben Carson refusing to back down after the head of the nation's largest and most controversial Muslim advocacy group calls on him to quit the presidential race. The Council on American Islamic Relations reacting today to a statement that Dr. Carson gave yesterday in response to a question. When the doctor was asked by Chuck Todd of Meet the Press the following question, you'll hear the exchange, Dr. Carson said he would not support a Muslim for president. Listen.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not. I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
Chief Washington correspondent James Rosen in Washington for us tonight with the very latest. James?
Megan, good evening. It's not hurting us, that's for sure. Ben Carson's campaign manager is quoted as saying today he cites a surge in fundraising and 100,000 new Facebook friends, all since Dr. Carson made those controversial comments on Meet the Press. And the candidate himself, as you note, is doubling down, telling the Hill newspaper that the next commander-in-chief should be, quote, sworn in on a stack of Bibles, not a Koran. Muslims feel that their religion is very much a part of your public life and what you do as a public official, and that's inconsistent with our principles and our Constitution, Carson said, adding, if a Muslim presidential candidate publicly rejected all the tenets of Sharia and lived a life consistent with that, then I wouldn't have any problem, unquote. Now, the head of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, said his group was shocked that such views came from a current candidate.
Not long ago, some people thought that a Catholic cannot be a president, an African American cannot be a president. They were wrong then, and they are wrong now. We ask Mr. Ben Carson to withdraw from the presidential race because he's unfit to lead, because his views are in contradiction with the United States Constitution.
At the White House today, President Obama's spokesman expanded the indictment to the entire Republican field.
I think what's particularly disappointing to many observers, including me, is that we haven't seen a significant outcry from all of the other candidates in the Republican race. And it's for the same reason, because they're chasing for the same votes.
Now, what about the voters? In June, the Gallup organization found nearly half of Republicans, 45% of them, saying they could see themselves voting for a Muslim presidential nominee. Only 66% of Democrats said they would vote for an evangelical Christian nominee. Overall, Americans feel differently, saying nearly 3 to 1 they would vote for an evangelical Christian nominee, a figure that drops down to 6 in 10 for a Muslim nominee again. That's the public at large, not broken down by party affiliation. In short, Megan, religion is now officially an issue in 2016.
James, great to see you.
Likewise.
Well, several of Dr. Carson's fellow Republican candidates weighed in today, with Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal getting attention for calling out the media. Governor Jindal's campaign releasing a statement writing, "This is a dumb game that the press is playing. It is an absurd hypothetical question," calling it a, quote, gotcha game. Chris Steyerwalt is our Fox News digital politics editor. He's with us now. All right, so was it absurd? Because what happened on Meet the Press was Chuck Todd said, you know, this is what's happened with Donald Trump. Should a president's faith matter? Carson goes on to talk about, well, if it's inconsistent with the values of America, maybe. And then he asks, so do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution? And that's when Dr. Carson stepped in it.
And I like that the guy from CAIR, all he wants Ben Carson to do is just quit. That's he only has one request: just quit the race. That's all we're asking of you.
We have to talk about CAIR. Wait, first, stick with whether it was a gotcha question, because the next question is about CAIR.
No,
I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Not a gotcha question. You're allowed to ask somebody if that's true. And now the whether or not Ben Carson wants to be politic in his answer and respond, oh, now, Chuck, I'm not going to play your games, but I will say this, that what matters to America is America and wonderfulness and winning and excellence, and just drive on past. Ben Carson said something that you're supposed to say in your inside voice, not your outside voice. He confused the two voices, and he said something that I bet more than the 40% of the people who were in that poll that said they wouldn't support a Muslim. I suppose that number is higher, maybe substantially higher, but people do lie to pollsters sometimes, and Carson just shouldn't have said it.
But is it going to be a problem for him? Because, you know, many people are saying that that's outright bigotry.
Well, it's going to be a problem for him. He had a lot of things that are going to be a problem for him. The last time he got a lot of media attention, people said, I really like this guy. He said some stuff about having sex in prison that he really regretted having said the things. Well, he did say he said it was there was a sort of a sexual smorgasbord approach that was going on.
Oh gosh,
and
let's get to care.
Care, yes.
And we went off the rails. All right, so he's got things to answer for. But right now, his campaign is saying it's not hurting us. We're fine. We stand by the answer. CARE. So the Council on American Islamic Relations, Canada, they are shocked. He should withdraw. He is unfit to serve. Just so the audience remembers, this is the same organization that's been designated a terror organization by the United Arab Emirates that is, according to a FBI special agent who testified in court, a front group for radical terror organizations that even Chuck Schumer has said has intimate links with Hamas and ties to terrorism. So that is the group that is very indignant over Dr. Carson's irresponsible statements and comments today.
And remember, it is always in the interest of pressure groups to create the notion of an impending apocalypse. It is always in their best interest to say, do you see that the torches are lit, the pitchforks are out, they are coming for us? It's perfectly within Ben Carson's rights as a citizen and as a candidate for president to say that he wouldn't be comfortable with a Muslim as commander-in-chief. That is certainly within his rights, but it is in the interest of the president of the United States, and it is in the interest of CARE to suggest that there is a claque or a cabal that is forming inside the Republican Party or nationally that seeks to disenfranchise or unperson Muslim Americans, and because that's good for business and it's good for their narrative.
Last question. Is this a reflection on Trump and the statements he made about Muslims or didn't make about Muslims on Friday, which then turned into statements he did make over the weekend? I mean, this is what some people say is the problem with Donald Trump in this race, is that he'll say a lot of things that inject a lot of issues into a race that may wind up either causing damage to other Republicans or leading them to damage themselves.
One dog starts barking, a lot of dogs will end up barking before the evening is true. There is no question about that. I would say that for Trump, though, he has reached a point in his campaign where he stands alone. He is probably happy today that Ben Carson was the one being sweated over the questions of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, but it will be him that will eventually, the bill will come due for him on whether or not he believes that the president is a Christian or not, or whether he believes the president was born in Hawaii or not.
There's the Muslim controversy, there's the birther country. I can't. I got to go. They're really wrapping me. Can I get you a one statement from you? A Walker dropping out.
Good guy, patriotic act, classy.
So are you. Great to see you.
You too.
Well, we also have a new twist tonight in those attacks on Donald Trump as critics accuse him of failing to defend the president at a campaign stop last week. We're going to get to that next with the National Review's Rich Lowry, and Trump's former advisor, Roger Stone, is here as well. Plus, remember that 14-year-old student who was arrested after bringing to school a mysterious electronic device that looked a whole lot like a bomb? Well, this whole story may have changed thanks to a report from one observant engineer. And wait until you hear it as Judge Napolitano joins us live.
This child, nothing against him personally, never built a clock. He did not invent a clock or build it, and I'm going to show you why.